Greetings, Business 166. Our project flowchart video is on Newton Hardware Company revenue cycle procedures. And my teammates are Brian Reyes, Dulce Marquez, Hile Shah, Hotak Ahmad, Shaha, John Haley, Miguel Martin, which is myself, Noah Haramoto, Steven Huerra, and Tianzo Han.
Hello, everyone. Before moving forward with our video, I think it's very important that we take a look at an outline of what exactly we're going to be going over. And that will start firstly with Newlands Hardware's, of course, its state of the revenue cycle. Of course, we're going to identify and define the revenue cycle as taking a sales order request to delivery of a product or service, billing of accounts, and the ultimate collection of payments. Secondly, we're going to be looking at a lot of threats that our team has identified, some of which include inventory management, unauthorized access, and most importantly, lack of training. And finally, we're going to be adding in our consulting skills for Newton's Hardware. And among these improvements and solutions that we'll be providing, one of which includes segregation of duties, and secondly, consistent auditing. Many of these solutions will be in the terms of internal controls.
Hello everyone, I'm Tianzhao Han, and I will be explaining the flowchart with you. For a sales clerk, the Newton company is having the sales clerk receive customer order, and with that, they need to make the decision of approving or denying the order. If the sales exceeds the credit limit, it means the transaction cannot be made. Thus, the credit manager will deny it. If the sales doesn't exceed the credit limit, then they'll approve it. Then the sales clerk checks inventory on hand and initiates back order, and next prepares sales order. With that, they pick and pack orders, then ship to customers. After they make sure the sale is approved, they mail invoice to the customers. Next, the accountant will update accounts receivable. In addition, they receive bank statements and reconcile bank accounts too. In the meantime, the cash collections clerk needs to receive customer remittance and then prepare a remittance list before depositing remittances in the bank. Also, the credit manager will issue credit memo before the accounts receivable updated. And moving on.
This is the flowchart that we created for Newton. And while it would be great to explain the entire flowchart from beginning to end, that would be a bit too long, and it would be rather complicated. Therefore, our team decided to make the decision to split the graph into 3 parts.
Description of the process, number of steps on the revenue cycle, the customer orders. Order entered into the sales system. We check customer credit. We check customer credit to make sure that the customer has sufficient and enough amount of money in their credit card to purchase the order. We also check the credit to make sure that the customer has a good purchasing history. After that, we verify the product. We want to make sure that we have the right quantity and the right product in stock. And after that, we approve the order. Once the order is approved, we pick up the right amount of product and we ship the product along with the shipping notice to the customer. And then the customer pays the bill.
Hello, I am Hilal Shah and I will be explaining the communication link. The terminal connects customer order confirmation and input customer order, which indicates that there is relationship between the two processes. By establishing this connection and communication link, the organization can streamline its order management process, reduce errors, and enhance customer satisfaction by ensuring accurate and timely order processing. The communication link indicates that the information or data collected during the receive the customer order process is passed on to the prepare sales order process. This ensures a smooth flow of information and enables the subsequent processing and fulfillment of the customer order. To elaborate further, receive customer order involves receiving and capturing customer orders. It could be through various channels such as phone, emails, online phone, or in-person interaction. Prepare sales order converts the customer order into sales order, an internal document used for processing the order, which may include verifying product availability, pricing and discounts, determining delivery logistics, and creating the necessary documents.
Here we have the middle section of our flowchart, which is also known as the revenue cycle process. This process consists of three main things. One will be the sales order entry process, filing, order, and shipping, and then lastly, collecting and processing the payments. So in the next slide, we'll see further into it. So again, beginning with the sales order entry process, that takes of the customer's order. Next is checking and approving their customer credits. And then following would be checking the inventory if it's actually available in order to get shipped. So this leads us into the second process, which is filing, order, and shipping. It starts off with picking and packing the order and then ending with shipping the actual order to the customer. And then lastly, collecting and processing payments can be done many different ways, but the three main ways that are usually chosen are mailing customer two invoices, one so they could keep for themselves of proof, and then the other one would be to send back to the actual company with the money as well. And then next would be the remittance list, or option 3 would be the lockbox.
And so for the third and final part of the revenue processing cycle, this is to conclude the transaction with the customer. Usually in this section, we prepare the mail invoice and send it to the customer as we await for them to send the money back. And then once that happens, we update accounts receivables, we print the remittance, send the remittance to the bank, and then get those bank statements in order to finish the transaction with the customer after a purchase. In order to do this, the company is going to prepare a bill or mail invoice to ensure all details of the transaction are correct and to ensure the customer knows any debts or payments still need to be processed. Also, after that, you have to update accounts receivable to ensure accurate reporting on the purchase of any goods once the payment is sent. Once the payment is received after the customer has sent it, the remittance is cataloged in order to confirm the end of the transaction process with the customer in itself. And finally, any remittance payments are sent to the bank in order to log and receive the cash from the transaction, and thus finishing the transaction in its entirety.
Now that we've discussed Newton Hardware Company's revenue cycle in depth, we're going to go on to the highlighted threats and the suggested controls for each of these threats. First off, our team discovered their largest threat, which would be the inventory management system that Newton Hardware Company currently operates under. This is a paper-based system, so Newton issues paper invoices and paper statements for all of their business needs. With a system traditional like this, you run into all the same traditional problems. So for their purposes, that would be stockouts, overcommitting to inventory, and mismatches between stock and sales orders. Our team suggests implementing some sort of ERP or enterprise resource planning system or real-time inventory management system to ensure accurate stock information at all times. These kinds of systems perpetually update themselves on a daily basis, ensuring, again, accurate stock information at all times. Next, we understand that when you migrate to a data system, or electronic or digitalized system like this, you can also experience more threats with a system like this, and one of those being unauthorized access. So that could lead to data breaches, manipulation of orders, and unauthorized changes to credit limits or credit memos. Our team suggests the control for this would be to implement IT measures, internal access controls, and authentication mechanisms to prevent unauthorized access to systems and sensitive information. Next up, one of the larger threats that we identified was the credit memo issuance process. And that is that the credit manager does not have to verify or validate their credit memos to anybody at this point in time. Our team suggests a segregation of duties. So this looks like an additional manager's approval to the credit memo process. That way they can avoid financial losses, inaccurate accounting records, and potential reputational damage. Lastly, our team's assuming that there is not an established training process for many of these threats that we have talked about recently. Our team suggests provide training to employees that are involved in the process to ensure that they understand the importance of security, accuracy, and adherence to these procedures.
In conclusion, this is a summary for the internal controls of our company. The way to improve the revenue cycle can be done through IT and automation. For example, segregation of duties to separate the responsibilities where one employee should be responsible for different tasks, such as entering orders, shipping products, collecting payments, and getting managers' approval for credit memos. Another example is physical controls, where we restrict authorized personnel to sensitive areas, such as the cash register and the warehouse. Another example is system controls. This system should be programmed to detect errors and help to prevent fraud, such as duplicate orders, preventing customers from over ordering above budget, an automated invoice processing, ERP system. And since we are a warehouse, the enterprise resource planning system is more efficient given our needs, and optical character recognition, auditing on a regular basis to ensure efficiency and to prevent errors and discover fraud, and issue and provide training to employees to express the importance of security and accuracy.
Well, that concludes our video. Thank you to the audience for watching it. I hope it was very informative. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask us in person. With that in mind, I hope the rest of you have a wonderful day.